Hey, what's happening, you guys? This is the Proclivity Podcast, and I am your host, Joel Cochran. You're also here with co-host, Emily Rodella. And
Hello.
we're here to continue to talk to you about travel. Traveling's coming up. It's the holiday season. And we want to be able to help you travel like a mother freaking pro. Yet, before we get into it, Emily, what do you think about cursing?
Oh, that's funny you ask me. I don't mind it. Like when I hear it, I don't do it myself.
Yeah. Do you feel like sometimes a curse word needs to get thrown in there to make a point?
I can find, yeah, definitely.
Emily doesn't curse too much, guys, just as a heads up. I refrain from cursing as much as possible, right? Because a gentleman and a scholar doesn't need to use dirty words to make their point. As a wordsmith, you should be able to make your point without curse words.
It's true.
And I'm old-fashioned. I don't believe you should curse in front of ladies.
Yeah, I got that from my grandma. My mom told me when I was little that she's never heard her say a curse word, and for whatever reason that inspired me. And I always felt like naughty when I was little for saying it, and it's just stuck with me.
Emily just still feeling naughty at 31 years old. I don't want to be naughty. You know what, Emily? I don't want to be naughty either. Okay? I don't want to be naughty either. You guys, welcome to the Proclivity Podcast. We're always excited to be able to talk to you about your health and happiness. It's what we do. We create healthier bodies and happier lives. And we really mean it. We are here to be able to give you tangible information. We don't want to go over your head. We're not these super pros with PhDs and craziness, yet we know the things that work, and we help people to apply the simple mechanical tactics to be able to create a healthier body and happier life. It's the Proclivity method. And we've done it with hundreds of people now, and they all seem to keep coming back and going, dagnabbit, this changed my entire life. And so I don't know if you're into changing your entire life for the better. Maybe that's not your thing. Maybe you want to stay perpetually stuck in victim mentality and have a terrible life. That could be you. And if that's the case, well, best day ever. And we'd love to be able to work with you. Nutrition doesn't have to be complicated. We make nutrition coaching simple. We help it stick by being able to use different mindset resilient techniques to help you create the identity that you want. Or maybe you don't even know that you want. But that's what we do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's what we do. The whole identity thing, it's wild.
Mm-hmm. That's the stuff that, like you just said, you don't even realize you want, and then you go through it and you're like, holy cow, that's what I needed and wanted, and now I have it. It's a whole new world.
Every time somebody says that, I go straight to Aladdin.
Same.
A whole new world, a magic place. It's just, for all the people that grew up on original Disney, okay, before Pixar and all that other stuff came in, where they actually drew out the cartoons. It's great. So good. Okay. Should we dive into it?
Let's go.
Let's go. Guys, if you listened to the episode before, we talked about what to do before you travel. If you didn't listen to that one, go back and listen to it, because there's some really good stuff in there when it comes to being prepared to travel. Too often, we don't prepare. We get really freaking stressed out before we even jump on a plane. We're running late to be able to get on the plane. We're dumping out cortisol and epinephrine. And, oh, yay, we're going to Disneyland on a cortisol and epinephrine high after 4 hours of sleep because I started packing at 11 o'clock at night. Wow, that sounds like the vacation I've always dreamed of. Not. So make sure to go check that out. Really tangible techniques to be able to prepare yourself to have an incredible vacation. Now, we're going to talk about you're on the vacation. Okay? You're now traveling. You did all the prep and you're going to get on the plane or get in the car to go do the travel thing. And what are you going to do when you're traveling when you arrive? So now we're going to dive into now you're getting into your vacation. So this is going to be fun. Don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
I do think so as well. I do think so as well. Okay. So let's paint the picture. We're totally prepared. We're ready. Our micronutrient cup is full. Okay, we have everything ready. We know what grocery store we're going to. We're ready for our vacation. That feels fantastic. Now we're at the airport. It's travel day, or maybe with the car, it's travel day. What do you do to make your day of travel as healthy and as happy as possible for you?
Mm-hmm. So depending on the time of day, the type of travel, how long the travel, most times I'm going to fast and I'm going to, like I said in the last episode, bring my coffee cup with my collagen, my coconut milk creamer. And I'm going to either find a good coffee shop or just a coffee shop at some point within the first few hours of travel. If it's a quick first layover, I may wait until I get to the next airport,
Mm-hmm.
or we'll start driving and then I'll wait an hour or two and then get my coffee. Again, if it's especially if it's super early in the morning, because we know if we get that coffee at say 5 a.m. in the morning, it's likely going to lead to more of a crash later. And we'll get more benefits if we can wait just a little bit. Even an hour is great. So that's where I start. But again, if you are, say you're traveling, you're like, well, I do plan to fast while I travel, but I'm not sure if I can make it a full day without eating. You can say eat at 7 in the morning, have a full meal, fast until you get there and not eat till dinner again, right? There's lots of different options here. Figuring out what is best for you, how metabolically flexible you are, that's all going to depend on the person. But that's where I start off.
Mm-hmm. So we're talking about being able to on the nutrition side, how to be able to prepare for traveling. This is one of the key components of the proclivity method is to be metabolically flexible, so that we're not needing to have food all the time. It gives us that flexibility, and with that flexibility, it takes a little stress out of like, oh, where are we going to eat? And traveling at the airport, having food at the airport. There's definitely some tips of being able to find different foods at the airport. I was just traveling. It was a weird time that I was traveling back. I got on an airplane at 7:20 p.m. East Coast to come back West Coast. And so I ate breakfast in the morning, but then I didn't have time really to get something like solid to eat. So now I'm at the Denver airport, which is my layover before I go to Reno. And I was like, ooh, man, I really should get some food in my stomach now instead of eating when I get home right before I go to sleep.
Right.
And so I tend to go into the I think it's like Hudson News shops or the little pit stop places that are there. And I look for things like, at times they'll have eggs, right? Hard boiled eggs. Or if you look, a lot of the places will have 100% grass fed, grass finished, jerky.
Jerky, yep. Or
Right?
pork rinds now.
Or pork rinds that are going to be in there. Also, there's raw almonds. A lot of places tend to have raw almonds. There might be some cheeses that are going to be there. Those are all really good options. In which what I did, I got beef jerky, I got some eggs, some nuts, and I got an RX bar. That was like my little dessert. But I ended up hitting 30 to 40 grams of protein, and it held me over there, right? Yet I digress. What we're talking about is on the day of travel when it comes to eating. We do want to, the best we can, avoid the eating at the airports, which is one of the reasons why we fast. Yet you can also bring food with you, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And have you done that before? And what does
Yeah.
that look like?
You can bring a small little ice chest like a Yeti, even the size of a lunchbox. You can pack those little frozen things. I don't remember what they're called, but so long as they're frozen to begin with, it's okay if they melt over time. You can bring those in on the plane. And so I've done that, and I'll pack perhaps a piece of fruit, some snacking veggies, salami or turkey, if I plan to be traveling for a long time throughout the day. So yeah, you can definitely pack those even if it's in a backpack or a small cooler.
Totally. So those are some options on the travel day itself. Now, when it comes to traveling at the airport, what time do you usually get to the airport? Are you like the 45 minutes before your flight's about to take off kind of person, or I'm going to be there 2 hours before my flight takes off type of person?
I'm in the middle. I'm like, depending on where you are too. For Reno, where we're at, you don't have to be there crazy early. So I'm there like an hour and a half. And then if I'm doing flying, what is it called? Where you can go in the short line. My husband has that. I don't.
You're TSA pre-check.
Yes. Then of course that's like
right.
a 45 minute. If not, then I'm there about an hour and a half before.
We talked about this in the episode before. Okay. Invest. Okay. When traveling.
Yes.
Emily, I will take you down to the airport to get TSA pre-checked, because I'll tell you what, how many times I have gone to the airport and it's like massive line. I'm like, oh, look at all this space. I can gallop and skip to the front of the line. You know how easy that makes and how much calming that is for the day instead of standing in line. It's beautiful. Guys, if you're not TSA pre-check, this is definitely a shout out to go do it. Trust me, you want it. Okay?
Yep.
Okay. So we're showing up enough time so we're not feeling rushed. Mm-hmm. Maybe you have food, maybe you don't. Mm-hmm. You're waiting to be able to have your coffee. Say you wake up at 5:30 a.m. Flight's at 7:30. When would you have your coffee?
Yeah, so either right before my flight, I'd get it, and I can even hang on to it because I bring a Yeti, which keeps it hot for hours. Mm-hmm. So if I'm not sure I'm going to have a place to get coffee, I'll probably get it right before that flight and hang on to it for an hour, and then start sipping on it.
Yep. Which I do the same thing. I wait until I get to the airport. That gives my body enough time to naturally start waking up. And now I'm hitting caffeine when my cortisol is starting to dwindle maybe a little bit or starting on the downside. Mm-hmm. That's when I hit my coffee. A lot of times people will hit the coffee straight first thing in the morning. Like, to energize. Why? Because I started packing 11 o'clock and I only got 4 hours of sleep. Again, if you guys didn't listen to the episode before, go listen to it. But being able to push off your coffee until you get to till you actually get to the airport is definitely a thing to do. Yep. Now, I'm interested to ask you on this. Day of travel, whether you're in a car or on an airplane, do you work out beforehand? Yeah,
so if it's super early, probably not. So if the flight is at before 6 a.m., probably not. If it's any time after, then yes, I will get that minimum of 15 minutes. I'll go in my garage or my living room or whatever I need, or take the dogs on a run, just around the neighborhood, super quick. Yeah, because that helps me feel better and energized. If it's that super early flight, what I'll do instead is I get to the airport and I walk around the entire time until I get on the flight.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I love that. And I'm going to ask you, because if you guys have listened to the podcast, you might have heard about the rodeo. Mm-hmm. Emily, do you have a named workout that is a go-to for you?
It's not named. No,
we can name it right now here on the podcast. You guys, it's coming in live. This is going to be fantastic. Tell us what the workout is, and then we're going to hit the name. This is going to be great. Everybody buckle in.
I have a few different ones, but a go-to for me, if I'm able to run, is I run a loop. So it's usually around 200 to 300 meters, and then lunge for about 100 meters. And that's 3 to 4 rounds. And it takes anywhere from 13 to 20 minutes. So that's it. Or I will pick lunges, squats, push-ups, planks, or burpees. And those are my go-to movements. and I do anywhere from
don't you distract. You see what she just did there, folks? Okay. She was trying to pull the wool over my eyes. I'm the language and life coach here. And it's getting to the point where she has to come up with a name, and she gets really nervous about this kind of stuff to be like really creative on the spot.
Yeah.
And we're calling her out. Okay. So the workout is the runs, 200-meter run. Okay. And then into 100-meter lunge, 3 to 4 rounds. I love that. What's the name? Can you guys feel the tension from Emily right now?
I don't know why
Just throw it out.
So hard.
Just throw it out. First thing that comes to mind.
Well, I just think of the Emily because it's just what I do.
Bam. There it is. The M.
The M. Okay.
The M. And it's THEM.
Okay. I like it.
That makes it even cooler.
Yeah, it does.
Right. You guys going to do the M? I'm going to do the M today. 200-meter run, 100-meter lunge, 3 to 4 rounds. That sounds fantastic.
Yeah, it's great. Get your quads going.
And do you need any equipment to do it?
Nope.
There you go, guys. And you can make whichever one works for you. Yet it's important to be able to have it. You know what I did this morning? Because the window was tight?
The rodeo?
Thing right. 4 rounds, 25 push-ups, 25 core exercise, right? Whether that's V-ups, alternating V-ups, sit-ups, and then 25 squats. 1, 2, 3. I got a sweat in. My heart rate was up. Boom, here I am. We're crushing podcasts. So being able to have a go-to workout, guys, where you, on the day of, get some movement in.
Yep.
Or, like Emily said, get some walks. Okay, so now we're prepped. We got our coffee. We did our workout. We're totally prepared. Now we're on the plane. Emily, when we're on the plane, what are some of the things that you do to be able to have a good flight? Is there certain things that you utilize? I like to utilize things like blue light blocking glasses, making sure that my water's filled from one of the filter stations and I have element in it. Maybe some EMF blockers, right? If you guys don't know about EMF blockers, hit up Emily. She got an EMF blocker on her phone. Okay, there's different pendants and necklaces and so on and so forth that you can actually wear for EMF, and there's a lot of EMF up at 30,000 feet because you're getting your Wi-Fi on and watching all the videos. Okay, and everybody has a cell phone.
Yep. But
what are the things that you do while you're on the plane?
Yeah, so like you said, I'll make sure I have my water filled with my element. And I will avoid, depending on how long the flight is, usually if it's a couple hours, I'll avoid drinking too much in the beginning and start, halfway through or towards the end, start drinking a lot more because I know I don't want to have to go to the bathroom multiple times on the airplane.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me. I got to use the restroom.
Joel's making fun of my people pleasing, not wanting to interrupt. Yeah, either way. It depends that how long the flight is, but making sure I have water for sure. And yeah, sometimes I simply will relax, listen to a podcast, listen to music. I love looking out the window on takeoff and landing. It's one of my favorite things, just looking at the landscape and hanging out. There are times where I'll do little work things, especially if it is like a work trip. I'll do some simple things on my computer or my phone. Or simply just rest, do some breath work, simple things like 2 counts in, 4 counts out, or, doubling that 4 counts in, 8 counts out to get into that relaxed state. And then, there are those additional fun things that you can have if you have your blue light blocking glasses, especially if it's a early morning where the sun is not yet up, or late at night where the sun is already down and you're wanting to come home and get back into a good sleep state. Then I have my orange blue light blocking glasses that are quite nerdy, but I don't care. And then, I keep it simple on the flight. What about you?
Yeah, I really enjoy, first and foremost, yes, blue light blockers. When I was flying home from Virginia and I had a 7:30 flight, it was already dark out.
Right.
There was going to be a lot of lighting and so on. So I definitely made sure that I had my blue light blockers on the plane. When I was on my layover, I mean, I just kept them on the entire time to be able, because there was a lot of blue lights going on with that.
Yep.
So I'll wear my blue light blockers. One of the things I definitely like doing is I have Headspace. And so I'll download Headspace, one of the Headspace episodes, to be able to go through some meditation on the plane or some breath work. It's a perfect opportunity here in this confined space, hand on chest and stomach, and just be able to work some breathing is a great way to be able to get through it. And then a lot of times I do enjoy working because there's Wi-Fi and there's nowhere else for me to go. And so I actually become really creative on a plane. Like there's a lot of stuff that I can go, oh yeah, those little things that I kind of were on the back burner. Cool. Actually, let me work on that. And very rarely am I doing like the watching a movie or whatever that they have on there. For me, it's like I'll pay the $8, get the internet. I might start a text conversation with somebody I haven't talked to in a long time. I'm like, well, I'm in the air for 3 hours. So I'm going to text somebody or text some people and make some connections. So those are some of the things that I really enjoy when being on the plane. Okay, so now we're on the plane. We did a couple things, right? We're traveling here. How about now touchdown, or we're pulling up? We're at our location now. What are some things to do immediately? Let's say that we just traveled from, we'll give the example of me. I went from West Coast to East Coast, traveled multiple time zones. What are the things that you do when you arrive?
Yeah, especially if you're traveling different time zones, then getting your eyes in the sun, whatever time of day it is, it's going to be helpful. And bonus, if you can get your feet in the ground, whether it be on dirt, grass, something other than concrete is helpful, but anything is better than nothing. That will help ground you, help your body get more in tune with your circadian rhythm and helping you sleep better, essentially. So that would be number one. Number two is having a plan with where you're going to eat. Do you need to eat? Are you okay? Can you wait? Do you need to go to the store first? And then making sure you're situated with all of that.
Yes. One of my big things is I don't plan anything on my arrival. So I don't have like this, like, oh yeah, let's all, go out to dinner or this or that. It's, hey, I'm going to get established. I'm going to get my surroundings. I'm going to get to my Airbnb because majority of the time I'm going to stay in an Airbnb. I'm going to get my groceries and I'm going to get to a park. I'm going to find a park that's close to me. Maybe I'm at close to the ocean. I'm going to go to the ocean and I'm just going to take my shoes off and I'm going to get grounded. You guys, this might sound hippity dippity, yet there's a lot of science in terms of, hey, you're on a different part of the planet. So there's different magnetic poles, and being able to get you down into the earth, feet into the ground, to be able to disperse some of that. You've been flying in the air, disperse some of that energy, right? You got the negative and positive magnetic poles within your body, your water. Okay, majority of your body is water. You want to get yourself grounded and be able to make that connection. We'll do a whole thing on grounding on another podcast, guys, but trust me, it works. And then to get sunshine on you, that's going to help a ton as well. Whether it's cold, whether it's warm, get out, get connected. That really is going to help establish you. So being able to get established when you land instead of hitting the ground, totally sprinting.
Yep.
It's usually not until the next day that I kind of go, cool. And then I'll start, Disneyland will be that day, or, going to take that adventure or whatever, but getting established first is really, really important. So now we've arrived, we put our feet in the ground, right? We've gone to the grocery store, we've settled ourselves in. Now we're in vacation mode. So we've prepped, we're prepared, we traveled, we arrived. Now say we're going to be there for the next 4 to 5 days. What does it look like for you when it comes to the rest of your time on vacation? What are the things that you do that help to energize you, to keep you focused, to have a very enjoyable vacation?
Yeah, we mentioned this in the last podcast, being able to pack some workout clothes so you can start your day off with a little movement, right? That helps with that structure of your day while you're still on vacation and helps you feel so much better for the day.
Yeah.
So that's where I start, is how am I going to get my movement in? So then I can scope out once I'm there. I scope out the area. Do I want to run in the morning? Do I see a flight of stairs that I could do some stair work on? Or if it's perhaps a sketchier part of town, depending on where you are, you can always do something in your room as well. So I map that out in my head, like, okay, I know I have at least a flexible plan of what I'm going to do every single morning when I wake up for movement. Can be 5 minutes, can be 20 minutes. Usually it's no longer than that, right? Because we have stuff planned for the most part, or I'm relaxing. So there's that. And then the second big thing I think about is the eating. Usually we'll eat out once a day. That could be a fancy coffee shop, or that could be, for a lot of people, including myself, a nice dinner or lunch spot. And so I know for me, again, we talked about this, searching for the grass-fed or the farm-to-table restaurants. That's one of my favorite parts about traveling. And so searching for the tasty and delicious and nutritious restaurants. But knowing there are times too to fill my soul cup, is what I call it, and enjoy a treat here and there.
Yeah.
And so the point is, I usually plan for like a treat a day or a time to eat out a day. And then otherwise, I'm making my own food, or I'm fasting at certain parts of the day if need be. And making sure I'm getting protein in and veggies at least once a day. Protein every time I eat, if possible. Perhaps there's this 1 or 2 times where there's a fancy, like really tasty gluten-free pastry or something with my coffee. That's like a 1-off or 2-off thing for the whole trip. Otherwise, protein at every meal. And then I'm making sure I'm getting veggies at least 1 meal, if not 2 or 3.
Yeah, that's part of the grocery trip. Like when I went to, again, I'm going to give the example of Virginia. Arrived in Virginia before we even got back to where we were staying. Stopped at the grocery store. I believe I spent $160 on groceries. That was getting proteins and vegetables and so on and so forth. And I even knew I was going to be bouncing around and going in different. But guess what? I took that food with me. I had a grocery bag, in the same grocery bag, paper bag. I brought all that food with me. And there was multiple times while I was traveling where I was like, oh, cool. The deli meat that I got, which is super easy to roll up. Oh, with this cheese, let me cut a few pieces of cheese and roll it up into this deli meat. Oh, I'm getting my proteins. I'm getting my fats. Oh, and a cucumber, English cucumber that's wrapped up in that perfect little plastic so it stays nice and clean. Yeah, I'm going to have that cucumber. So now it's really easy to travel because it's already wrapped up. So I'm getting my vegetables, I'm getting my proteins, I'm getting my fats. I'll have some raw almonds or something that are going to be with me. Oh, well, man, this is becoming quite easy. And being able to have those veggies and proteins is really, really essential. Also, as Emily said, being able to make sure you have movement. We want to have the same or very similar structure to our day as we would if we were at home. So what do? We have our water bottle. If you're watching on YouTube, here's my water bottle. This guy goes with me. What do I do the night before? I fill it up just like I do at home. And then what do? I leave out an element packet right next to the water bottle, just like I do at home. And I go through the same process. I wake up, I make my bed, I give my gratitudes, I walk over to the water, I put my element in it, shake it up, drink some of that, splash cold water on my face. Oh, why do I do that? Oh, because you're going to have water anywhere that you're going. If not, you're going to die. So that's why I splash water on my face. I go through the same routine as I would at home, put a few things on my face, feel freshened up, and then I go for a walk or I go work out. All it's very simple stuff to do first thing in the morning. Everybody's waking up anyways. Doesn't matter where you're at. And again, you can do the rodeo. You can do the M. You can find whatever works for you. And you can do it inside your Airbnb or your hotel room or whatever else. And you get that established. Then I have the same supplements I usually would and on with my day. I'm just doing it in a different location with different experiences. And guess what? It works real darn well. It works real darn well. One of the things that I want to ask you about, because one of the things we talked about in the episode before was making sure that our micronutrient level cup is full. That's important in multiple different pieces, guys. One, we want our micronutrient level full because there's going to be different stressors.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to be traveling, so we are going to be having a lot of different micro. What am I thinking?
So like exposure to different bacteria.
Yes, exposure to different
things.
bacteria. Thank you. I want to go microbiome, but that's inside, not outside. I guess it's outside, right? The microbiome. Yeah. Anyways,
that works.
That works. We're rolling with it. We're rolling with it. And you're going to be getting exposed to different bacteria, stress, so on and so forth. So we want to make sure we keep that high. And we want to continue with it during our travel. And when we're out on our vacation. What are the supplements you suggest people bringing? We talked a little bit about in the episode before. What are some of the supplements that you suggest people bringing when it comes to travel and on their vacation?
Well, since we mentioned this more so in the first episode, but electrolytes in general, and again, our favorites, element that we tend to get more dehydrated when we're traveling. Mm-hmm. So that's number one. Number two, vitamin D and magnesium, because those are my daily go-tos for most people. Most people should be taking those, depending on unless you're completely high range for both, which most people mm-hmm. are not. Those are my go-tos. And that would be the main ones. Yeah. Another one I consider if I know I'm not going to be getting as many vegetables or quality proteins in is I'll bring a desiccated liver supplement. So that'll get me a range of B vitamins and minerals that I may not be getting throughout that time. And then if I do feel like I'm feeling a little extra sick or higher stress, for whatever reason, I can recommend for some people, and I've done so myself, some zinc, vitamin C, some of those immune boosting vitamins as little extras. Again, if you know you're not going to be eating to the quality that you're used to.
Right. Ooh, I like that. And the liver supplements, which brand? Ooh, she's battling back and forth because she's been doing research, guys. She's been doing research.
There's two brands that I'm fairly certain are the same thing. Yes, I like both of them. Heart and Soil and Ancestral, both great brands. And there's different formulas or mixtures depending on your needs, but the liver in general or beef organs are going to be your like mock multivitamin.
Yep. And guys, I'm talking to the men out there. I'm talking to ladies too. This is one of the best supplements that you can get because we don't eat a lot of organ. Mm-hmm. Way back in the day, we did a lot more bone in kind of, we don't. And so being able to have that is a really good supplement. I know that we're talking about supplements, but being able to have that in general, even beyond traveling is really beneficial.
Yep.
So being able to have those supplements, guys, and taking those supplements is going to make your travels a lot more enjoyable. Mm-hmm. Because what tends to happen is that if we're not using these techniques that we're teaching you right now, we tend to get there, micronutrient cup is already low. Maybe it's because we were forgetting to take our supplements because we're all stressed out before we went and we didn't get enough sleep and everything's super high. So we're burning through our micronutrients really quickly. Then we get there. We didn't plan where to eat. We didn't get to the grocery store. So now we're just going down to the coffee or cafe shop below that has very low micronutrient foods. So now our micronutrient cup is still low. So your body is saying, man, we want to eat more. Mm-hmm. Because we need more micronutrients. So then you find yourself snacking throughout the day, eating at different places. Now your stomach kind of feels upset because you're eating all the dang time. Mm-hmm. You're in a different location. You haven't adjusted. You guys can see where you might be shaking your head like, oh yeah, man, I do get some digestion issues. And man, my poops are usually not that good. And yeah, I get some acid reflux with some of that stuff. And then I might end up drinking later, and then that makes it even worse. And I'm struggling with sleep, right? All of these things can tie in to having a good or poor experience when it comes to traveling. And so all these tips that we're giving you, we want you to think about to be able to add into your travels during this holiday season and just see how it works. Right? So we've talked about now in this episode, we talked about the traveling itself from we get into the airport or we're getting into the car to all the way through the rest of the travel. In the next episode, we're going to be talking about when you come back, what to do when you arrive back home, techniques to be able to get you just driving right into the next week without feeling completely bogged down. Yet before we leave, let's give our top 3 tips when it comes to the vacation itself. We're in the middle part of it, not the pre, but in the middle part. What do we do?
Yeah. So number 1, have that plan for your travel day with what you're eating, where you're eating, if you're fasting, all the things are included with that. Mm-hmm. Number 2, get movement in every day. Again, it could be that 5-minute walk, could be part of whatever adventure you are doing in the day. You could be taking the stairs instead of, the escalator. You could be hiking, whatever. Movement every day. If it's not built into your day, get it done first thing in the morning, right? More likely to happen, and you're going to feel way better. And then 3rd, shoot for at least 1 quality meal a day. Again, that means you're getting a good chunk of protein, quality protein, and veggies, or at least some sort of fiber. That could be some berries, that could be some chia seeds and yogurt, right? So fiber and protein are going to really help things stay normalized with hunger, energy, in your digestion.
Love it. There it is, you guys. Simple yet not always easy. That's what we do here. We don't have to make things complicated. There are little simple things like getting up and drinking your element, even while you're on vacation. Yeah, you can do it. We promise.
It's one of the easiest ones for sure.
Easiest things to do, guys. So this is the second part, 3-part series. Next episode, what are we going to be talking about?
What to do when you get back from travel. How do you, we'll put it in most other people's words, get back on track.
Yeah, there you go. We're going to get you back on track. Psst, there is no track. Oh. All right, you guys. Once again, if you have liked what you've heard here on the Proclivity Podcast, please like, subscribe, give us a review. It's huge for us. Share it with some people. Say, hey, you're about to travel? Share this episode. We'd super appreciate it. We're a small business. It's Emily and I. We rock and roll. We love what we do, and we love sharing it. We'd love for you to share it for us, if you can. Sharing is caring, right, Emily?
It is. It does help us a lot.
Perfect. All right, guys. That's it for this episode. Next episode, we're going to be talking to you about how to reincorporate into your day-to-day. If you are interested about learning more about what we do, head over to www.proclivity.co. We appreciate you coming and listening to us in this last 45 minutes. And until we hear or see from you again, which neither are we going to do because we're the ones actually talking, we hope that you have the
best day ever.
The best day ever, guys. Go live it. It's the only day that we have. See you later.
See ya.